My name is Ila Gandhi, and I am a trustee of the Gandhi Development Trust, and I'm also a board member of the International Center of Nonviolence in South Africa. I've come to Australia because an initiative was taken by Dr. Gambhir Watts of the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan to set up a similar center in Australia and to continue the work that we are doing in South Africa in Australia.
What I especially like about the new centre is that it demonstrates what can be achieved when Australians of different ethnic and religious backgrounds come together in pursuit of a noble goal. In the past 2 years as Minister for Citizenship in New South Wales, I've consistently sought to promote the message of cooperative striving for the betterment of our society.
In July, August, I was very fortunate to go to South Africa, and Indira Gandhi was hosting international conference on non-violence, and it was called Roots to Fruits, so based on Mahatma Gandhi's principles. So I was so much impressed with that conference because there were people from all over the world, and in USA, Europe, and African countries, and especially in the USA, how much advance they made in practicing non-violence based on Gandhian principles. So we hope to achieve to that status. So we're starting with the schools and the colleges first.
ICON promotes nonviolence, a culture of nonviolence from early childhood right until university and beyond. But the message of nonviolence is not only Gandhiji's message. That message comes from many, many philosophers, many people who have spoken about nonviolence, about the culture of nonviolence, and so on.
And to Gandhiji, this was not just something which was a physical manifestation of action. It was nonviolence both in thought and in deed. So if you felt nonviolence towards your interlocutor and you did not act violently, it was not good enough. That is, you had to exercise self-control and have love and affection for your the person you were dealing with, and it was not just non-violence in action. It was non-violence in thought, and that I think is really very difficult to achieve. Which is why when he went back to India and when he led the mass civil disobedience movement against the colonial government, he often paused the movement at a time when it seemed to be doing very well, it seemed to be succeeding, because for him, the means to the end was very important.
I think there's also no better way than to celebrate Mahatma Gandhi than through the opening of this icon. Because why? Because here in Australia, like anywhere, I think in the world, we are not immune to violence. We also have our own share of violence that occurs here in Australia. Women are often the more targeted gender, not always, but there are fairly damning statistics that reveal that women will be more subject to violence, to sexual violence in their lifetimes, and I think that again is something that in Australia we're certainly not immune to. It is through education that we can try to change and turn that around.
I had the absolute privilege of spending the day with Eva Gandhi and talk with her throughout the car trip to Ashbury Public School, one of our fabulous public schools, where we had just the most delightful program. It's one of a number of our schools that have been doing some substantive work in white ribbon, and combating violence against women and girls. Then we had a trip to Ford Street High School, who you happened to hear their fabulous band outside, and that was a wonderful program, meeting with the senior students there, and also a major assembly. We included in this visit was the visit to Ashbury School, and then the visit to Ford Street. And then Ella and I came into Parliament House here. There was a workshop involving quite a large number of our secondary students. And then we had two of our, again, outstanding public schools present workshops for those students, and actually for Ella and I.
An international centre for non-violence here in Sydney, I think, is a wonderful prospect for us. Through the research done at the centre and links between the centre and schools, many more children will have the chance to learn from a very young age how to live with each other peacefully and non-violently, and together we can bring key changes to society.
As a member of the Student Representative Council, I am very honoured to be a part of this cause and this progression towards improving the society that will be left to us, the future generation, to lead. The legacy of Ella Gandhi and countless others who have dedicated their lives to promoting non-violence has built the foundations of a society the future generation will strive to perfect, be it through international partnerships, raising awareness within schools and communities, or the act of a single individual, opening their mind to the possibilities.
I want to say that on behalf of Gandhi Development Trust and ICON South Africa, I want to congratulate you on this initiative. Indeed, we must work together to build up a reservoir of knowledge on best practice models so that it can be replicated throughout the world and we can make a difference. For Gandhiji, non-violence was a way of life. What then is the composition of this way of life, and how can we promote it? We brainstormed and came up with many issues, among them access to basic needs, universal access to basic needs such as housing, work, education, healthcare, equity, learning universal values, non-violent communication or a non-violent language. We saw education as key to such a society. If education from infant to tertiary level is imbued with ethics, basic values of compassion, respect, and above all, responsibility, and community values, as opposed to individualism, these values will be internalized and the community will behave differently.
There is a massive literacy around the world concerning violence. There is a massive illiteracy about the language of non-violence. So we're really talking tonight about learning an alternative language. Some of you learn languages easily, some of us find it more difficult. But essentially for me, the Gandhi legacy is the fascination and demand of learning the language and philosophy of non-violence. I want to acknowledge the values of Bhavan, Australia, that has established this event tonight and the International Centre, because it says in your terms of reference, as I understand it, that it's about public education to increase people's knowledge of art, poetry, dance, all the great philosophies and languages of the world. Now that's poetic in it. That's poetic in itself.
I'm searching for the spirit of the great heart under African sky. I'm searching for the spirit of the great heart. I see the fire in your eyes. I'm searching for the spirit of the great heart. That's the violin inside. Sometimes I feel that you really know me.
Well, my message is that let's get together and let's try to come up with a model that will be effective in transmitting this message. the message, I think, is very, very important because we are seeing more and more violence in the world, and we are seeing the depletion of the resources of the world, of our environment, and it all goes hand in hand. If we destroy each other and we destroy the environment, there will be nothing left for the future generations. And in order to save that, this message is very, very serious. And I hope that everybody will join in to find the best way of transmitting the message to the next generation.
I said